Tonight on KGW News, decades in prison for the man who started this inferno and destroyed his neighbor's apartment.
We had seconds to get out. Our living room was completely burned up.
Then, after someone dumped tens of thousands of tires, we found out why getting rid of them is where the rubber doesn't meet the road.
The work we do is inherently dirty and hard.
Plus, it's what's next for the Lloyd Center after City Council paved the way for a wrecking ball.
We have to figure out a way how to make businesses thrive.
And later, the Portland comedian who was just nominated for an Emmy.
Sheriff's Office, anybody inside, make yourself known.
First at 11, breaking news and the search for a man suspected of killing 2 people in Washington, because we have just learned that manhunt ended on the Oregon coast in Seaside, where authorities say police shot and killed the suspect. David Mokel here with you on this Wednesday with the details coming in minute by minute. Catherine Cook tracking what we know right now. Catherine?
David, the Pierce County Sheriff's Office confirmed tonight the suspect they were looking for was killed by police in Seaside. This started around 3 o'clock this morning in Puyallup, Washington, where a 35-year-old was found dead in a home. About 30 minutes later, a second victim was found shot to death in a home in Tacoma. Neighbors in Puyallup reported hearing several shots, though police have not confirmed how that man died.
And I actually heard a vehicle drive away, and that's when I knew it was super close, because if I can hear the gunshots and a vehicle drive away, and then a couple minutes later, I heard the police sirens.
Sheriff's deputies believe 24-year-old Hayes McLeod was responsible for the killings. Investigators say both victims and the suspect are related. McLeod was found this evening in Seaside, with authorities issuing a shelter-in-place order for those living near the cove on the south side of the city, citing heavy police activity. That order was then lifted, with police saying there was no ongoing threat to the public. Late tonight, we learned McLeod had been killed by police. We don't yet know if McLeod fired any shots, but Pierce County Sheriff's officials say no officers were hurt. Oregon State Police is investigating the situation in Seaside. We'll keep you updated as soon as we learn more. David.
All right, so 2 people dead in Pierce County and the suspect shot and killed by police in Seaside. Catherine Cook on the breaking news. Thanks, Catherine. In an update, a Portland man who set this massive fire at his apartment building and targeted his neighbors, prosecutors say, based on their race, will spend the next 20 years in prison. Sean Swartz was sentenced on 9 counts of arson, bias crimes, and assault after the fire last July. At least 2 people were hurt and several lost their homes. Investigators say Swartz yelled racial comments at his neighbor while setting the fire. Some of those neighbors spoke today.
We'll sleep a lot easier knowing that he'll be behind bars, and that the damage that has occurred to us is something that's gonna persist with us for the rest of our lives.
My 5-year-old still has nightmares because I had to wake him up first thing. I mean, luckily we were awake to get out of the fire and the danger. And we had seconds to get out. Our living room was completely burned up.
Swartz did not say anything in court, but wiped his eyes as the judge read the 20-year sentence. To get you caught up on tonight's other headlines, new at 11, the Clackamas County Sheriff's Office is looking for this 20-year-old woman they say is autistic and in need of medication to keep her alive. Emily Bennett Hoffman was last seen around 5 Tuesday evening on Southeast Bell Avenue in unincorporated Clackamas County. At the time, she was wearing a gray Beatles t-shirt, blue pajama pants, and green Crocs. Detectives say she might be traveling toward Southern Oregon. If you see her, call 911. To Washington County, where a 68-year-old man has died after a house fire in Cornelius. The blaze sparked around 8 this morning, not far from Cornelius Elementary, and shut down blocks of town for hours. Crews say the home in question is divided into apartments with a total of 6 residents, and the older construction made fighting those flames challenging. Authorities have ID'd the resident who died as 68-year-old Jerome Milliken. No word yet on the cause. And an arrest in Marion County led the ATF to uncover an arsenal of weapons, drugs, and what they believe was a steroid manufacturing operation. 47-year-old Michael Brassey was arrested Monday for violating a no-contact order. On Tuesday, detectives and the feds raided several locations they say were linked and found All of this, more than 50 guns, several of them stolen, thousands of rounds of ammo, and 3D printers, authorities say, to make ghost guns, which are nearly impossible to trace. Police say they also seized psychedelic mushrooms. There's more: fentanyl, cocaine, and over 150 vials of anabolic steroids, along with manufacturing equipment. Well, now to a vote that starts the clock, so to speak, on the final days for the Lloyd Center Mall, set to shut down 1 month from today. City councilors denying appeals from those trying to stop a project to reimagine the neighborhood. Alma McCarty has new reaction from council and the community. Alma.
Yeah, David, for small businesses inside of the mall and for ice skaters on the rink, there's been a real effort to save what they consider a valued community asset. Today's vote means upholding the Design Commission's master plan, demolishing and rebuilding this site.
We have coaches, we have students, we have adult skaters. We have a lot of people in the community that use this space because it's the most accessible rink in Portland.
But its days are numbered, with attempts to save the rink and the mall rejected by Portland leaders on Wednesday.
Well, they denied the appeal. We kind of expected that. It's understandable.
Shanna Kramer, a member of the Save Lloyd Ice Coalition, says despite 5 months of work advocating to preserve this rink, there's a silver lining.
But one of our main goals was really just to get the word out about the rink and about our skating community, so we were glad that we were heard.
As activity winds down inside the Lloyd Center, evident already with more shuttered storefronts, Kramer says her group will keep pushing to keep ice sports in Portland.
So that either means we're going to find a new location for a rink or we're going to have to build our own rink.
I think all of us, we were kind of torn. And we don't like to see community members fighting, especially fighting against your own memories, your history.
Councilor Loretta Smith says they heard the advocacy groups loud and clear, but decided 10-0 to uphold the Design Commission's master plan to redevelop the Lloyd Center into mixed-use housing, along with 6 acres of parks, plazas, and public space.
We understand that that is a piece of the city that can be redeveloped into an economic boom for housing, businesses. We can bring people into a central location. It's going to be great according to the plans that they have.
The managing director of Urban Renaissance Group, the property owner, said in a statement that they're pleased the city council chose to embrace this well-considered plan to transform an outdated, empty mall, and that they're eager to get busy writing the next chapter. The planned closure for the mall is a month from now, already set before this hearing and council vote. Councilor Smith encouraged small businesses inside of the Lloyd Center to contact Prosper Portland for assistance if they need it, finding a new place to thrive. David?
The end of one era and the beginning of another. Thanks, Alma. Okay, let's switch to a live look now over the Rose City on yet another glorious summer evening. You know, it's nice when we get to say that over and over and over, though, Matt, we definitely don't want to take it for granted, right?
No, because this season doesn't last all that long, but this stretch of weather is really continuing for several days, if not longer. So we're going to enjoy it for sure. It's been a great July so far. 64 degrees out at Vancouver right now. Our camera at the Springs at the waterfront with a clear sky. Just a really, really beautiful night outside. And the temperatures right now are actually running pretty much the same as they were last night. Give or take a degree in some spots, but the zeros mean no difference at all between 24 hours ago. Northeast Oregon, Baker City, and Joseph seeing fairly significant cooling and some cooling in Pendleton too, but everybody around the state not only enjoying pleasant temperatures, it was virtually a clear sky everywhere, except I did find this one cloud over on the east side of Mount Hood, lazily floating around. Eventually it dissipated. You see, it didn't really go anywhere, and eventually the clearing took over, and that was it for that one lone cloud. The next few days look amazing. It's going to be sunny and pleasant tomorrow, sunny and pleasant again on Friday with some morning clouds, and the same thing on Saturday, sunny with some morning clouds. But the sunshine comes back without the morning clouds after that. Bit of a warm up next week, David. We'll show you how much.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Matt. To new reaction tonight with Oregon's top election official pushing back on a letter from President Trump's DOJ threatening to prosecute state election officials if they knowingly allow non-citizens to vote. The letter sent to all 50 states gives each state 5 days to respond with information about how they intend to comply with federal laws. We should note there is zero evidence, as the president has long claimed, of widespread election fraud. Zero by non-citizens or others anywhere. Secretary of State Tobias Reed stressing the claim points to a different kind of problem.
This administration knows that they are unpopular, they know that their positions are unpopular, and they, I think, fear the accountability that an election represents. That's what matters here. Elections are about holding politicians and government accountable, and my job is to make sure that Oregonians always have that chance without interference from politicians in Washington.
Tobias Reed, of course, Democrat, Washington Secretary of State, also a Democrat, called the letter, quote, needless, saying it would not stop election officials from doing their jobs. Well, who could forget this mess? Thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of used tires dumped in southeast Portland. We met the property owner dealing with it last month. The case, an extreme example of what officials are calling a growing problem across the Portland metro of illegal tire dumps. So what does it look like to do the right thing? Catherine Cook got a look inside the country's largest tire recycler.
It's Wednesday afternoon, and the crew at Liberty Tire Recycling in North Portland is processing a fresh load of used tires. First, trained eyes pick out tires they can sell as used. Next, special equipment extracts wire and fiber, then shreds the rubber, accounting for toxic chemicals. What's left ends up on sports fields, playgrounds, or sold off as fuel, leaving as little as possible for landfills.
The work we do is inherently dirty and hard.
Joe Stewart, Liberty's regional VP, says they process over 3,200 tons of tires each month at this Portland site alone.
Most of the work that we do is out in the community, picking up tires from large retailers and bringing them back here for processing.
The cost to consumers? About $5 a tire. For commercial operations, it's $500 a ton. But Stewart knows not everyone is following the rules. Take this illegal tire dump in southeast Portland. Metro and the sheriff's office are investigating who's behind it. There are other smaller ones too. Metro says they've seen an increase. Over the last year, its RID patrol collected more than 14,000 tires from illegal dumps. The reasons behind them vary, though Stewart believes some may come from illegal tire collecting operations.
The folks who are typically charging those cheaper rates, maybe they are not processing the tires and they're just tossing them in a field somewhere or in somebody's property.
Tires that are dumped in our environment have the potential to leach chemicals into our soil, into our groundwater. They're a fire hazard. They can be breeding grounds for mosquitoes.
Jennifer Powers is Metro's Waste Prevention Outreach Manager. Their transfer stations also accept used tires, up to 15 per day per customer, with rates on par with Liberty.
Our bottom line is that illegally dumping tires is not the solution.
Back at Liberty, the work continues.
They have to go somewhere. We have to do something with them.
A constant stream of tires that isn't slowing down. In North Portland, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
Well, Metro says lately their RID patrol has been receiving fewer reports of large tire dumps. That's good. That's 400 to 1,000 tires, and more reports of smaller ones. They appreciate anyone who reports those and say they will clean up illegal dumps, be it tires or other trash, as long as they are on public property.